So good evening, everybody. You all welcome. This is the third meeting of international exhibitions and webinars of design studios. Tonight, we have two themes, let me say. One is represented by Professor Zeynep Uludağ from Gazi University, Atölye 1 or Studio 1. She is going to talk about, she's going to introduce about her studio. And Professor Zbigniew Paszkowski and Professor Jakub Gołębiewski from Poland. They are going to introduce their own studio.
We call the topic as the emancipatory ground. What is emancipation and what is architecture? It was a really challenging topic first when we start to discuss it. But as we dwell into the problems, as we dwell into the topics, it became really very enjoyable, very discursive and nice for us. Since 2014, we're dwelling on the topics of criticism, critical architecture, and such topics. But that was the last one was really different from the former ones in that case. The architectural design studio is the first place where students meet complexity of problems, a combination of cultural and social issues, social configurations, and the first functional relationships between the parts of a cultural configuration and technological constraints, of course. They are expected to understand the design problem and develop their own design strategies within a conceptual framework, negotiating the programmatic demands. This is the architectural cognition process at the beginning. This process paves way to the concept formation in students' minds. During this process, the process of conceptual formation, they first discuss the theme and then the physical concepts together, the neighborhood and also the requirements, the programmatic requirements, technological requirements, whatever. However, this knowledge-based process finds its expression in the design process, that is the creativity process. We encourage students to discover their own design methods by understanding different patterns of lifestyles, diversity of cultures, traditions, beliefs, values, whatever, but all tangible and intangible values. This search is about being free from restrictions of mentality, functionality, technology, society, history, politics, economy, whatever, for the sake of creativity. I know it's a very, very difficult thing for an architect because architecture is not like art. Art can release itself from those constraints, and because it is not, it doesn't need to be ethical or functional, but architecture needs to be ethical and functional. Now, emancipation thing is like art. Architecture is always an attempt to bring order out of chaos. The principles of art help architecture not to portray, but to evoke the ideas lost within the chaos of daily life. Hence, it focuses to the abstract world of art to realize the truth. So, architecture is about combining the rational and irrational. At the beginning of this process, students design abstract models by using methods, those methods, which they discovered during theoretical searches and discussions, such as destructing, deforming, metamorphing, carving, stretching, overlapping, superimposing, juxtaposing, articulating, intersecting, integrating, and so on. Then they use these methods and models as three-dimensional tools to design emancipative spaces and special experiences. Tuğçe Gül is the second grade student. Her concepts was metamorphing, deforming, stretching, overlapping, superimposing, juxtaposing. And Tuğçe designs a metaphoric abstract model. Here you see the model. This is the second stage of her project. You see she proposed a youth and culture and art center at Sinop, Akliman. Her abstract model inspires Tuğçe to design youth and culture center. This is Furkan's project. His method was autopoiesis, continuity, connecting and intersecting. Furkan develops an abstract model by using autopoiesis as the main design method. He discusses this method by creating himself again and again. This is a process of self-creation or self-formation. He preferred to design a museum in Samsun, where our War of Independence starts. So it's very much related to the site. In his project, he identifies autopoiesis with Kurtuluş War, War of Independence. For him, it is the actual autopoiesis process in the society. Thus, he proposes an independence museum. When they graduate from the university, because they are all alone and all the clients will ask them to solve a problem, to make something very programmatic, very concrete, very much seen in the architectural market. If they want to be different, to be unique, they have to look at themselves, discover themselves. But on the other hand, they have to learn a lot about architecture, history, and about all those theoretical things. They have to read very, very much.
So concerning our topic, we found out that there is a certain link between the things which are going in our city and our education and educational program. The important thing is that the place we are living in, the city of Szczecin, is very much connected to water, to river, to the sea, to the lakes, with a beautiful landscape around. And this is a very important thing for our education, because a lot of projects, a lot of problems we have in the city is connected with a process of ongoing process of transformation of the city. And this process of transformation is also causing a lot of problems, subjects who have to be solved somehow. So we decided that our design studio, let's say, or subjects in which we try to learn design, to teach design, to educate our students, will be connected in certain extent, not only, but in certain bigger extent with the waterfronts. Well, we have some selection of design which we would like to show. This chosen design issues are corresponding to the formulated elements of the curriculum, as well as changes and processes taking place in the modern cities. To show how in the Northern Europe it looks like, we have to look to London, to Hamburg, to see that the processes of the waterfront areas are ongoing. In many cases, these processes had very significant results. And like it is in the docklands in London or in Hamburg, Hafen City, which are the leading examples of these transformations. So this case of Szczecin, where the relocation of industry in the scale of the city and in the scale of metropolitan area is going on, especially the relocation of port and industrial functions from the central riverside areas are causing the situation where we can say the waterfront is becoming a very dynamic, very challenging and very developing area of the city. This phenomenon driving the dynamics of waterfronts in Szczecin is composed of two elements: relocation of the port and industrial functions from the riverside areas, and reconstruction of historic urban structures that were destroyed during the World War II.
Here we can see some projects. On this slide we have a project made at first semester of architectural design conservation, and it's an analytical study for the waterfront part of Old Town that was destroyed during the World War II. And of course, at the end of this analysis, we have some urban design that in that example, it shows the idea of reconstruction of the waterfront near to the edge of the river that was destroyed during the war, and it doesn't exist now. Also with some different kinds of buildings, different kind of shapes on this waterfront edge. And these are projects that were made during the second semester. So this is this kind of architectural scale of building. So each group have chosen one quarter from this Old Town waterfront edge and prepared architectural design with different functions like hotels, apartment buildings, or multifunctional buildings that are in the modern, let's say, the design plays a modern language of architecture, but still it fits in the historical scale and maybe has some citations from the forms of historical buildings.
It is a totally new architecture, but the importance of the place, of the context is so so challenging, and also the change of the history, that not only reconstruction is seen in this area very well, but also the trials to make some modern architecture are very welcome. Well, the conclusions, the studio-specific consideration of 21st century and its architecture. So we think the process of transformation of waterside areas are multi-wave, long-term, and complex.
Maybe we seem that we are doing it very differently, but all we are dealing with is architecture. So let architecture be your life's motive, and let your sky be as bright as possible. Good night, everybody. Thank you very much.